Absolute favorite boss in the game. Trademark. I've played Risk of Rain 2 enough to know pretty much everything about the game. I got all the Chivos, played around 400 hours, and I have already made a whole bunch of videos on it. Now, I've got to say that there have been a distinct number of occasions where I've been blown off my feet, both literally and figuratively. Including that time my feet got blown off. I loved having my jaw drop at the sheer size of the final stage before the Mithrix fight. Seeing Aurelionite for the first time and shitting myself because he's so goddamn shiny! The first time I stumbled upon one of those rare orbs that lets you literally embody an elite type enemy. I loved the way it felt to experience these for the first time. But nothing came close to the first time I came across an overloading worm. The name alone is enough to make my hair stand on end. Maybe except for the worm part. But still, when this thing turned my entire screen pitch black before an iridescent blue figure launched from the ground and started spewing lightning from the sky that sounded like the very rocks beneath my feet were being dislodged, I was in awe. He's so freaking cool! Can you imagine the sheer euphoria and fear I felt as I ran around aimlessly in a desperate attempt to avoid the literal shitstorm raining down everywhere? I'd never felt so small, and a teleporter boss had never looked so impressive. Did I mention that light blue is my profile color and that I have a mild obsession with chaotic storms and lightning? No? It's not like it's relevant or anything. God, it's so freaking cool! The fact that it's housing so much electrical energy that it cannot properly contain it, and now it's spilling out everywhere and raining complete anarchy down on the surroundings. God, it's so cool! Look at this thing! Look at it! It's so cool! It's covered in what looks like literal searing plasma. How can you tell me that's not cool? This thing isn't even considered an elite version of the magma worm. No. This thing is cool enough to be classified as its own unique monster. And while it has traits that elite monsters do, it has none of their weaknesses. It doesn't care! Fuck you, Guillotine, you ain't shit! This is a magma worm's stats. And here's my boy's stats! He's so thick! The flavor text description of a magma worm states that it's an ancient lava swimmer. And this is cool by itself. Then the overloading worm rocks up with two words like the reminder. What catastrophic things has this thing done? Why am I so scared of being reminded of what this thing is capable of? Excuse me? Aside from being absolutely terrifying, this thing is impossible to find. I spent an entire stream just recently just looking for the bugger, and I didn't catch sight of him once. You want to see the two recorded clips I have of this thing? The first one had him spawn right underneath my friend and I, and we were both killed before we had a second to figure out what the fuck was going on. And the second time he spawned in and was killed before I could even start recording. It's kill or be killed with this monster. I had to mod my game to high heaven, change the settings so that the game assumed I was always in 4-player mode, increase the spawn rate of Shrines of the Mountain, modify the game files to only allow overloading worms to spawn in on each stage, and sometimes the bastard still didn't show up. And that's what makes it so special. If you teeter around the beginning stages or obliterate as soon as you can, then this boss will likely never show up. It has the highest credit requirement of 2,000 points, while everything else sits around 800 or lower. This makes it incredibly hard to spawn, and usually requires you to be on a much later stage and with friends to pull it off. The reason why this is my favorite boss in Risk of Rain 2 is because every time I've seen it, I've shat myself.